Let me ask you something. What if one of the most successful, longest lasting corporate dynasties in history wasn't built in some high tech campus or on Wall Street, but on the battlefields of 12th century Japan? And what if its founder wasn't just a warlord, but was actually its first great CEO? So, picture this. It's the 12th century. Japan's elegant, aristocratic Heian period is, well, it's falling apart. You can think of it like a market in complete turmoil, where the old, established players are losing their grip and everything is suddenly up for grabs. And this chaos kicks off the Genpei War, a brutal 5-year conflict that was, let's be honest, less of a civil war and more like a hostile takeover bid for the entire country. Now, of course, victories were won on the battlefield. Swords and arrows definitely played their part. But the ultimate triumph, the one that would actually stick around for centuries, that wasn't secured by the guy with the sharpest sword. No, it was secured by a man who thought less like a general and more like a founder who was building a company to last. A man by the name of Minamoto no Yoritomo. All right, let's really get into this. To understand how Yoritomo pulled this off, we first have to look at the market leader he was trying to disrupt, the incredibly powerful Taira clan. Let's just call them Taira Incorporated. You see, the head of the Taira, Taira no Kiyomori, was the first warrior to climb to the very top of the government. But he made a classic mistake, the kind of mistake incumbents always make. Instead of building a new system for his people, the warrior class, his clan just went native. They got seduced by the old power structure in Kyoto and became obsessed with being courtiers. And this is just a textbook example of corporate decay, right? Kiyomori practiced some serious nepotism, stuffing the government with dozens of his relatives. They got completely obsessed with court ranks and ceremonies, totally losing touch with their actual customer base, the provincial warriors who held all the real power. So with weak alliances and a huge leadership vacuum after the founder's death, Taira Inc. was just begging for a takeover. And all that corporate rot created a massive opening in the market. So enter Minamoto no Yoritomo. He'd been exiled as a boy when his family lost to the Taira, which gave him this unique outsider's perspective on all the fatal flaws in their business model. He decided he wasn't going to play their game. He was going to build something completely new. Yoritomo's first move was pure genius. It was all about location, location, location. Instead of getting sucked into the political mess of Kyoto, he sets up his startup headquarters way out east in a place called Kamakura. And this wasn't just a change of address, it was a total strategic pivot. He was creating a whole new center of gravity, a parallel system built by warriors for warriors. You know, every startup needs a killer value proposition, that one thing customers desperately want. Yoritomo's was brilliant and simple: land security. Through these official edicts called jando, he guaranteed a warrior's rights to his land. Now, for these provincial samurai whose biggest fear was some bureaucrat in Kyoto taking away their family estates, this was everything. I mean, this was the 12th century version of offering stock options to your first employees. It bought a kind of fierce loyalty the Taira just couldn't compete with. And right here is where you can see a great CEO turn a crisis into a huge opportunity. In 1181, a horrible famine hits Japan, and it absolutely cripples the Taira in their western strongholds. But Yoritomo's territory in the east, it was less affected. So while his competition was literally starving, what does Yoritomo do? He pauses his military campaigns, he tells his guys to focus inward, on building the administration, basically strengthening his core business during a market downturn. Yeah, because Yoritomo understood something absolutely fundamental. Winning battles, that's temporary. Winning the war meant building an organization, a machine that could outlast any single victory. So while other people were out fighting, he was back at headquarters, drafting the corporate charter for a whole new Japan. He built his government, the Bakufu, on 3 main pillars. You had the Samurai Decoro, which was basically his HR and operations department, managing his talent pool of warriors. Then there was the Mandakoro, that was the C-suite, handling all the policy and governance. And, so crucial, the Manchujo, his in-house legal team, a court designed to quickly and fairly handle the #1 concern for his stakeholders, those land disputes. See, he wasn't just leading an army, he was building a government that actually delivered better services than the old one. But, as any CEO will tell you, sometimes your most brilliant, high-performing employee can also be your biggest headache. And for Yoritomo, his toughest management challenge came from inside his own family, his younger brother, Yoshitsune. I mean, the contrast between these two brothers is just night and day. Yoritomo was the architect, the systems builder and headquarters, always focused on the long game. His brother Yoshitsune, he was the disruptor, an absolute tactical genius on the front lines, winning impossible victories. He was the company's rock star, its rainmaker. But here's the massive problem. After winning all these battles, Yoshitsune starts accepting promotions and fancy titles directly from the imperial court in Kyoto, Yoritomo's main political rival. This was a complete violation of company policy. It went around the entire chain of command Yoritomo had worked so hard to build. It basically told everyone that there was another way to get ahead, another source of power outside of the Kamakura system. So Yoritomo makes a ruthless, totally calculated decision. He declares his own brother an enemy of the state. It was cold-blooded, and it's what made Yoshitsune a tragic hero in Japan for centuries. But if you look at it from a CEO's perspective, it was a necessary move. He had to eliminate a rival power center to protect the integrity of his entire organization. The system was more important than any one person, even his own family. So, what was the end result of all this? This weird mix of military conquest and bureaucratic engineering? What was the IPO for this Kamakura startup? Yoritomo didn't just win a war. He installed a completely new operating system for Japan. In 1192, he's named Shogun, and he establishes the Kamakura Shogunate. This was Japan's first ever government led by the military, a feudal system where the real power wasn't with the emperor in Kyoto anymore, but with the shogun in Kamakura. And the durability of what he built is just staggering. The basic blueprint he designed, a system of warrior government with a shogun in charge, would, in one form or another, rule Japan for nearly 700 years, all the way up to 1868. So in the end, the Taira failed because they tried to take over an old, dying system. They confused the symbols of power with the real thing. Yoritomo won because he knew the market had changed. He built a new system from the ground up to serve his actual customers, the provincial samurai. He built an organization that was tough, adaptable, and designed to last. And that really leaves us with a timeless question, doesn't it? For any leader, in business, in politics, in anything. We love to celebrate the brilliant disruptor, the Yoshitsune, the one who wins the spectacular victory. But maybe, just maybe, the real legacy, the one that lasts for 7 centuries, belongs to the quiet architect in the background, the Yoritomo who builds the system that makes all the future victories even possible.